Have you ever stopped to think about, well, all the invisible tech that keeps our world connected? I mean, everything from your phone to your smartwatch, maybe even your car. They're all constantly chatting, sending data back and forth. And underpinning all of that communication are these tiny, incredibly powerful components, usually hidden completely out of sight. Today, we're doing a deep dive into one of those critical pieces, flexible liquid crystal polymer antennas. You might hear them called LCP antennas. Our goal here is to really unpack what these things are, why they're becoming so important for, all our future gadgets, what's happening in the market, and some of the really fascinating challenges and innovations shaping where they go next. And for this, we're leaning on a pretty comprehensive market analysis from Cognitive Market Research. It was published late 2024, but updated just recently, early July 2025. So really fresh insights here. Okay, let's get into it. Let's explore how these flexible, high-performance bits of tech are quietly shaping your digital life. So you mentioned these tiny components. Let's start right there. What exactly is a flexible LCP antenna?
Right. So basically, a flexible LCP antenna is a really neat step forward in antenna tech. It combines flexibility with genuinely high performance. They're made from something called liquid crystal polymer, which is a high-performance plastic, essentially. What makes LCP so good for this? Well, it has excellent electrical properties, really low dielectric loss, which is crucial. It means the signal doesn't degrade much.
Okay.
And it holds up well under heat, high thermal stability.
And the flexibility part must be key too. Lightweight, thin.
Exactly. That's the other big piece. They are lightweight, super thin, and, well, flexible.
Yeah.
That means you can design them into all sorts of shapes and spaces.
So how does that translate? Why does that matter for, the devices we use every day?
Well, it matters because it lets engineers integrate really high-performance communication into devices that are getting smaller and smaller and more varied in shape. Think about high-frequency systems like 5G or the Internet of Things, all those connected devices.
Right, IoT.
And wearables are a huge one, things that need to curve or bend.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're definitely showing up more in mobile phones, other compact tech where space is tight,
Yeah.
but you still need top performance. You're seeing them in consumer electronics, advanced car systems, even aerospace applications now. It's kind of amazing how we managed before with rigid antennas and these tiny gadgets.
Yeah, it really is. So given all that, are traditional antennas sort of on their way out for these applications, or do they still have a role?
Oh, they definitely still have a role,
Yeah.
especially in, say, lower frequency applications or where cost is the absolute #1 factor.
Yeah.
But for modern electronics, needing that combo of flexibility and high performance, especially at high frequencies, LCP is increasingly the way to go.
Okay.
Their properties just give them a real edge when space is tight and the signal has to be clean.
So with that edge, I bet the market is reflecting this importance. How big are we talking here, and where's it headed?
Oh, absolutely. The market is seeing some serious growth.
Yeah.
That Cognitive Market Research report pegged the global market at around $915.2 million back in 2024.
Wow, okay, nearly $1 billion.
Yeah, and it's not stopping there. The projection is for really strong growth, a compound annual growth rate, or CAG, of about 13.0%. That puts the estimated value at something like $2,433 million by 2032. So nearly tripling in under a decade.
That's huge.
It really signals a major shift, yeah.
What's driving that kind of expansion? Is it just 5G, or are there other factors?
5G is definitely a huge driver. The demand for advanced communication systems, 5G networks, IoT applications, that's massive. Also, the need for antennas you can actually fit into these tiny devices we keep talking about. That's critical.
Right.
And you've got 5G rolling out in more places, developing economies, for instance, plus all the advances in wearables, smart homes, connected cars. They all need this kind of tech.
Okay, that paints a clear picture of the demand. How does this break down geographically? Where's the main action happening right now?
So North America is expected to hold the largest share, roughly 38% in 2024. That's largely down to their strong tech infrastructure in telecom and aerospace.
Makes sense.
Europe's next, around 28%. There, the demand is growing strongly in automotive think-connected cars and industrial sectors, like smart factories.
And Asia Pacific, you often hear about rapid growth there.
Absolutely. That's where the fastest growth is happening, led by places like China, Japan, South Korea. It's expected to grow its share to about 32% by 2025, with a CA share around 11%. Just massive expansion in mobile devices, IoT, advanced wireless networks there. It's really a key area for market growth.
With all that growth and money involved, I imagine it's pretty competitive. Who are the big names, the companies really pushing this forward?
It is definitely a highly competitive space. You've got key players really leveraging advanced tech. The report highlights companies like Rogers Corporation holding about 15% market share in 2024, then PolyOne with around 12%, and Celanese close behind at 11%.
Okay.
In their strategies, well, lots of investment in R&D, obviously, trying to make these antennas better, cheaper, more adaptable. Plus, you see mergers, acquisitions, strategic partnerships, teaming up with the big telecom and electronics makers.
Right, to get their tech into actual products.
Exactly, expanding their reach, especially in those fast-growing emerging markets we mentioned.
Okay, so the potential is clearly enormous, but, new tech always faces hurdles. What are the bumps in the road here? What's holding LCP antennas back from even wider adoption right now?
Yeah, you're right. There are definitely challenges. The biggest one, probably, is cost. The high production cost of the LCP material itself.
Ah, okay. How much more expensive are we talking?
Well, the LCP substrates the base layers they carry a premium, often something like 20 to 30% higher
Yeah.
than traditional flexible options like, say, polyamide.
That's significant. Why so much?
It comes down to the complexity of actually processing LCP. You need
Hmm.
really precise temperature control, advanced manufacturing techniques. It's just trickier to work with.
Yeah.
And think about making multi-layered LCP substrates, which you need for a lot of the high-frequency stuff.
Mm.
That adds even more cost, specialized equipment, skilled workers. So yeah, those higher costs can definitely limit uptake, especially in markets where every penny counts.
Makes sense. Are there other major barriers besides cost?
The other big one is the complexity of the design and manufacturing process itself. Getting these LCP antennas integrated perfectly into tiny high-performance devices, smartphones, wearables, car parts, it demands incredible precision.
Like microscopic precision?
Pretty much.
Sure.
Any tiny mistake in aligning the design or during fabrication can seriously mess with the antenna's performance. And this is especially true at those really high frequencies, the mmWave bands, 30 gigahertz and up. The margins for error there are minuscule.
Wow.
So that complexity, it adds time, it adds cost to production. It's a real challenge for manufacturers. Think about lining up tiny invisible threads perfectly over and over.
Okay, so cost and complexity are the main hurdles. What's being done then? How are companies tackling this? What does the future look like?
Well, manufacturers are definitely not sitting still. They're actively exploring ways to bring costs down, looking at cost optimization strategies, developing more advanced, efficient manufacturing tech, and there's a lot of interesting research into hybrid materials.
Hybrid. Like mixing LCP with something else.
Exactly. Trying to combine the best bits of LCP, the flexibility, the low signal loss, with maybe more affordable materials. The goal is to lower the cost, but keep that critical performance.
Are we seeing any results from that kind of innovation yet?
We are starting to see related advancements. Take, for instance, Kemeta's Peregrine U8 LEO terminal, launched in 2024.
Okay, what's that?
It's the first flat panel antenna built specifically for OneWeb's low Earth orbit satellite network. While not purely LCP, it shows how these kinds of flexible high-performance materials may be akin to what hybrid LCP could offer, enable things like high-speed satellite internet, even on moving platforms, like ships.
Fascinating example. What else is on the horizon?
AI is going to play a big role, I think. AI-driven design tools.
How so?
They can help optimize LCP antenna designs much faster, improve signal efficiency, reliability, make them even more compact. AI can simulate performance, cutting down on expensive physical prototyping and testing. That speeds everything up, gets products to market faster.
Right, accelerating innovation.
Definitely. And then there's the ongoing push of 5G rollout and even early work on 6G technologies. That just keeps driving demand. LCP antennas really shine at those millimeter wave frequencies needed for super fast data, offering low latency, minimal signal loss. They're kind of tailor-made for it.
So the need isn't going away?
Not at all. Plus, the whole drive for global connectivity, the explosion of IoT devices, it creates this constant need for small, powerful antennas that can handle lots of different wireless standards.
What an incredible journey we've taken today, really getting into the weeds of flexible LCP antennas. From understanding what makes them special to that booming market, the real challenges, and these clever solutions coming down the pipe.
It really does underscore how uniquely suited LCP antennas are for these high-frequency jobs, where signal loss is a killer. They're truly an enabling technology for our whole wireless world.
And when you think about it, this tiny, invisible component is becoming foundational to so much of your connected life. It's in your phone, yes, but also potentially your smart home. Maybe even how you get online out at sea someday soon. It's quietly making everything faster, smoother.
Yeah, it leaves you with a pretty interesting thought to chew on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Given how fast wireless tech is moving and how crucial materials like LCP are becoming. What happens to our daily lives when almost any surface could become a potential point for high-speed communication? What kind of new possibilities open up when that trade-off between flexibility and performance just disappears for connectivity,
No.
when it becomes a given? Something to think about.